At this stage it's really important that you keep track of where we've been in the module, what we've done so far and where we're going next. And if you've been keeping your eye on the handbook as you've been progressing through the module, you'll know that we're now at the start of the third major section of the module, where we're talking about systems, cycles, processes and landscapes. So we've got to the stage where we can now begin tying together lots of the ideas that we've talked about previously. In the earlier sections of the modules, we talked about the big picture, how physical geography fits into a broad context, for example, the astronomical context of physical geography. We also talked about processes and materials and the reactions between energy and materials. Energy impacting on materials, driving processes, creating the physical geography of the Earth's surface. We've had all that background, we've had all those building blocks, and now we're starting to put those together. Because in this section, section C, we're talking about how those different components are all connected. We're talking about cycles such as the hydrological cycle. We're talking about systems such as ecosystems, and the systems theory as a whole, the whole idea, the whole approach of using systems as a way of understanding how physical geography works. That's what we're talking about in this section. Following that, having talked about geomorphology and landscapes as a unifying idea that brings together all of these ideas, we're then going to move on, and in the later stages of the module we're going to talk about environmental change, which has a real impact on everything that we've talked about so far. We'll need to adjust our perspective a little bit when we think about how the environment is going to change into the future, and then we'll finish off the module by looking at some case studies that tie everything together. So just make sure that at this stage you know where we are, you know where we've been, and you know where we're going. Of course, at this stage you should also be keeping on top of your coursework. We have the live sessions every Friday that you can come along and ask any questions that you have. If you have any queries, any worries, if you're concerned about any aspect of the coursework, you can come along on Friday and I'll be happy to take your questions and answer them as best I can there. You also have the discussion board on the KLE, and that's a really good way of getting hold of me very quickly. Put a question on the discussion board, I get an alert and I'll answer it as quickly as I can, probably within a few hours, and certainly normally on the same day, so you'll get a very quick answer to any queries that you have. So welcome to step 7. Make sure you know where you are and what you're doing, and then in unit 1 of step 7 we'll talk about systems, connections, and look at some ideas of how things can be tied together within that systems framework. And then in unit 7.2 we'll look at landforms and landscapes and the connections between processes and environment in the creation of land systems as an example of how systems work in physical geography. Don't forget also there's plenty of reading available to you. There's the core textbook. You can always go to that to look up any queries that you might have, and there's set readings for many of the units in that core textbook. Also there are individual readings provided, or links to individual readings provided within some of the units, and of course at this stage, either as part of your coursework assignment, the essay, or as part of your patchwork assessment, I assume that you're beginning now to explore the literature a little bit on your own and discover some of the exciting stuff that's out there for you to find by means of your independent research. So, welcome to step 7.